But my excitement is being pulled down, Greg, by disappointment of Deadpool 3 getting delayed. So the film, yeah, it got pushed back. You know, it was for months they were saying, "Oh, the strikes won't affect it; it's going to be ready." And everyone behind the scenes is like, "No way, mate! It's
No,
getting
it's a bug.
delayed. Just come out
It's a
and
bug.
say it."
Just delay
Yeah,
it.
and yeah, that's come to pass. So it is now delayed. Yet director Sean Levy recently cast doubt on them even being finished in time to make the new release date of July 26, 2024, as he told The Wrap, "I wish I knew." And this is obviously all contingent on the strikes, which we talked about before. Hopefully, they sort it out this week when we release this, as they are talking today when this video comes out. But yeah, disappointing. And it does make me kind of worry a bit about Marvel and how their hype's going to be maintained, because unfortunately, I don't feel like the Marvels is going to really bring people back on board, and I don't feel like Echo is. What if the same thing with that? And I don't know how Captain America 4 is going to do, because it's kind of coming off the back of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I enjoy it, but I know there's
Mhm.
people out there that have mixed feelings on it. And I was feeling like Deadpool was going to be the surefire hit that was going to get everyone excited for things, and just to see it get pushed back a bit, it's like, I don't know. It kind of feels like, oh no, are they like releasing so many projects in a row that people might not be hyped for, and then dropping that when maybe the hype's already evaporated? But I mean, I say that I'm going to be there day one. Yeah, I mean, the teaser they released of just Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman talking, that was enough to get me on board the film. Um, so yeah, it's disappointing seeing stuff get delayed, but it was expected.
Yeah,
What are
man.
your thoughts, Greg?
My thoughts are Hugh Jackman is probably getting laid so much in the meantime now
Mm.
that he is
Okay. Do you not think he's
recently.
upset that he's broke up with his wife?
I think divorce, if it's necessary, it's a good thing.
Okay.
It's something to be celebrated. You shouldn't stay together if you're not happy. He's Hugh
When did you get
Jackman, man.
married?
He's Hugh Jackman. He's gonna have a good time. He's gonna be enjoying life. And
Been
let's
married to her for like 30 years. What are you on about? He's probably devastated.
Well, no, man. I've seen he's Hugh Jackman. He's a senior with a great body. He's probably fine. He's
I'm gonna
probably
have to cut all this again.
No, man. No. I'm sure there's some hardship, and I'm sure one of his ways of grieving is just taking advantage of his single life, man. He's Hugh Jackman.
I just don't like.
He's,
What's this got to do with Deadpool 3 getting
it's got
delayed,
everything
Greg?
to do
That's
with
what we're
Deadpool
talking
3,
about.
man. It's got everything to do. We're so
Uh,
late into the podcast, we might as well talk about it. It's got everything to do with Deadpool 3. Hugh Jackman is trying to stay in shape. He has to stay in that Wolverine body until they can get back to filming. He's got to do something with that body in the meantime, right? Come on, Paul. No, someone has
okay.
to say it. Someone has to say it. Don't cut this. Don't
This
cut
is
this,
why
Paul.
people don't watch our podcasts.
No,
This
don't
is why
cut
people
this.
don't watch the podcast, Greg.
Hugh Jackman is getting action right now to stay active until Deadpool 3 resumes filming. Um,
Okay.
the Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on a serious note. I agree with you. I think Captain America 4 is I think it's a harder sell than people are probably really realizing, and it's you're I don't think you actually need to see Falcon and Winter Soldier to watch it. At least I hope not. I liked Falcon and Winter Soldier a lot.
Now, the way
Exactly.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier finishes, it's in the exact same place as stuff was at the end of Endgame.
Yeah,
Yeah.
except now he's like, all right, I got a suit and I'm more confident about this decision now, right? Like that's about
Yeah.
it. Um, you have to sell
They
people though
fixed
on
that boat. They fixed the boat.
fix the
So
goddamn boat. I think you need to sell people on it, but it seems like it could be a really cool political type of thriller. I'm not talking like woke
it's got
politics
the
or something.
Hulking and stuff. It's all about
Yeah,
Hulk and stuff.
I
How
think
can
you
that be
really
a
got some.
political thriller?
It can be though, dude. I mean, Hulk's got this
Okay.
political slant about super soldiers and shit like that. I think you can. I think you can do a really compelling trailer out of it that can be very intense. I'm excited for the first look of it to see what they do, because I'm rooting for it. I am rooting for it because even on my end, like to go from Steve Rogers to someone who's not Steve Rogers, I'm of course going to see it. I'm of course interested, and I really like Anthony Mackie in the role. I thought he was great in Falcon and Winter Soldier. At the same time, it is a harder sell. So I really want to. I'm really hoping it's going to do it, but I am on the same page as you. As I think Deadpool 3 would have been the thing to reignite that spark for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I'm not sure this new Captain America movie is the way to go about it. Because people still like a big part of the conversation is, and the reason why I'm saying it's a battle is because as much as there was the Falcon and Winter Soldier show, as much as they had that big scene where he handed off the shield, we had old man Steve Rogers and everything. They're still asking Chris Evans every freaking interview, will you come back? And then he still talks about whether or not he'll come back. And he's like, I'm not completely off the table. I might still come back. So there's still that little slither of hope that he might return still, and it kind of it does wash away the enthusiasm to see Anthony Mackie carry on the mantle when so much of the conversation is still about will Chris Evans return, and this movie has a lot to prove that this has to be the defining moment where we let Chris Evans go. This is really it. This film. So a lot's riding on it, and that's why I'm rooting
Yeah.
for it to do well.
Well, I was texting Ryan Airy, and I was having the same conversation with him, and he said, "I think Captain America 4 and the Thunderbolts will do well." And I was like, "Well, the Thunderbolts is like the sidekicks movie, and they're still kind of messing about with the script and that.
Yeah,
Cap 4, I think you're completely right. I think it depends how they integrate the Hulk, what goes down with that. Like the Hulk is my favorite Marvel character, and I always feel like he's kind of been mishandled a bit at the MCU.
kind of.
I really like the
He's
the
a
the,
joke.
the early iterations. Yeah, I mean the Avengers was great. I thought Age of Ultron was great, and then they turned him way too goofy. Like he is the perfect example of how Marvel have kind of taken their big strong characters, turned them into who are complete badasses. They've turned them into goofy, like stupid comedic relief, and I feel that's the case with Thor. That there's not that level of seriousness with them, and I'm hoping that Captain America 4 has it's Brave New World, isn't it? I'm deliberately saying Captain America 4 because I've totally forgot what title it is because they changed it. It was New World Order and they changed it to Brave New World. So
Yes,
yeah, it's obviously Harrison Ford's going to be playing the General Ross, which President Ross, sorry, which they're going to be getting in Red Hulk with that as well. Because remember in Secret Invasion they said sounds like a one-term president to me, which great way to set things up, guys. But I'm hoping that they send Hulk back to the kind of rage monster where he's trying to grapple with, you know, the MCU book talks. It has a great chapter about the Hulk, and what they do in the book is they kind of go through each film and talk about the behind the scenes stuff, the character motivations, the themes, and they're saying the appeal of Hulk, which I've never realized, is that everyone has this urge within them to just go get angry and just smash stuff up and go over the top of it and just go crazy, which is what the Hulk represents. However, Banner represents the more cool mind after that, the side of regret. Like, when you lose your cool and you kind of
yeah,
you let it all out, you go
yeah.
crazy and it feels good, but then you have that come down and that regret of like, oh no, what have I done?
The
And you
clarity of
feel
what you've done. Yeah,
guilty. Exactly. And that is what the Hulk is. And that is why everyone can kind of relate to him because we all have these two sides within us. And,
yeah.
Banner's in control most of the time, but there'll be certain points in your life when you lose your temper and just let it out and you feel like, oh crap, I regret it. None of that's in the Hulk at the moment. But
No,
Smart Hulk was great for Endgame. I thought he worked really well as part of what they were going for with that. But yeah, how they used him in She-Hulk and stuff just wasn't well served to the character that was once the one of the main members of the Avengers. And since they've been nerfing him, turning him turning him into a joke. Introducing his son in what is the worst introduction ever just makes me less excited to see what they're going to do with him in the future. So I'm hoping that the Red Hulk brings the red back out of him and they set it up as that. And I feel like the Captain America could be very much in the same way that Civil War was kind of an ensemble piece, and that they bring the Hulk in, sort it out, and that'll be good. I think that'll really elevate the movie. But for the moment, it feels like a lot of people kind of see it as being almost a continuation of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Like, it's difficult to go from seeing something on TV on a streaming service and then try and sell a movie off the back of that. It tends to be the other way around, where it kind of feels like we should have this expectation for Sam's Captain America that he should be a small screen character, whereas I want to really see them sell it as him being the big guy. And I think that'll obviously carry the movie. But I do feel the MCU hype. If they don't deliver with that, then it's going to really suffer, and it is kind of going almost downhill a bit. And we have kind of seen that in the case of the Marvel's box office, which is, yeah, the latest figures, they have been updated. So tracking is forecasting 75 to 80 million for an opening weekend. So
Hell
there's a slight
yeah.
improvement on what was before, but yeah, I mean, it's less than a month away, and I just still don't see the hype really getting on board for it. Obviously, the actors, they can't promote the movie at the moment, but there's still not that buzz to it. I think going back through this book and hearing all the old movies and going through the timeline and stuff, it like reminded me of what made me feel like Marvel had magic. You know what I mean? And I feel like that magic with Marvel's kind of gone. Loki really good, but I don't feel like there's that magic around the announcements and the slate at the moment. Every release doesn't feel like, oh crap, we're building up to the next thing and so on. It just kind of feels like it's releasing content for the sake of releasing content so they can release
Well,
content down the
I
line.
I just found the review embargo for Marvels, and it comes out November 9th, Thursday, November 9th at night, right? The review embargo is November 8th in the morning.
Which is very late for a Marvel movie. Very, very late
Yeah,
for a Marvel movie.
very late. And I got my
What
invite
did they
just
say? What social media reactions are when
the
that is?
Tuesday, November 7th at 9 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
So the day before the reviews lift, that's a social media.
12 hours before the reviews lift. Yeah.
I mean, that is late, and we deal a lot with this. Like, I was talking about Loki, like, I'm
Yeah.
sure that was the week before or something. And
Right.
most Marvel movies, the social media tends to be, it's normally the immediately after the premiere,
Hmm.
and people go out and tweet their initial thoughts, and then I think it's normally the Monday when the review embargo lifts, and
Right.
then it releases on the Friday. Whereas I mean, that doesn't fill me with confidence. And obviously,
The
hearing things like it's the
screening
shortest one.
is this is so weird. Okay. So at least the first rounds of screenings that they're sending out here Tuesday, which is I'm on the list that most people are going to be on. Um, Maybe they'll have earlier ones. Tuesday, November 7th at 7 o'clock p.m. Movie's an hour 45 minutes. Social media embargo lifts 9 o'clock p.m. So I think the idea is like the second they're out of the theater, they should be tweeting about it. So yeah, that's kind of late. That's really late. uh,
I know you're not confident, Greg, and people might think we're being negative because but
you
just the
always
way
point
these
that out.
things
People
tend to
always think we're
operate,
negative.
we are negative, to be fair. But I want to be positive. Genuinely, I do want to be positive, but that doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence. And I kind of feel like Nia DaCosta is almost trying to get in front of it. Like, if you've been watching or reading what her interviews are, she's kind of been saying like, "Well, Kevin's the one who's in control of everything, and sometimes I was just directing to like a green ball or a green screen or something." And it kind of sounds like she's almost trying to get in front of it. And if it's bad, she can be like, "Well, I was telling you guys." But obviously, that they're trying to cash in on the success of Barbie. I feel, but whether that's going to happen or not, we'll have to see. I think what they've, I think box office analysts in general who mistaken things in the past and saying like, oh, well, it's going to do Barbie numbers and stuff. I think they haven't realized like Barbie is the most popular girls' toy in the entire world. It's got a massive history, whereas Captain Marvel, it isn't. And again, I think it kind of comes down to audiences. I know women went out in droves to see Barbie. Like, Marvel's main audience is men, and women don't necessarily associate Marvel as being something made for them, like how they think Barbie is. And Disney kind of, they built their whole empire on princesses and stuff. And I feel, I might be wrong with this, but what I feel they're trying to do is almost take these male, and this is actually covered in the book as well, but they're taking these male centric franchises and putting women in to attract both audiences into it. But sometimes, it feels like they're kind of moving away from the key demographic that they really should, and I don't feel like they've fully marketed this movie towards men, who are still, they still make up the basis of Marvel. I'm trying to say it without sounding sexist, Greg, and I don't know if I'm doing a really good job with it, but you know what
Hey,
I'm trying to say. It's a,
I was trying to make the
yeah,
points clear right out because we can always hear the other side where people misunderstand what we're saying, and we're like, no,
yeah,
we're just talking about the context of the characters and stuff. We're
yeah.
not talking about this.
Like,
Any of this.
at school, it was the nerds, all the boy nerds were into Marvel. You know what I mean? I didn't see
Yeah,
the girls sitting on the table talking about Marvel and Captain Marvel and stuff. Maybe things have changed recently. I've been in a school for a long time, but it kind of feels like they haven't necessarily marketed this towards men. Now, one thing they did with Wonder Woman, which I always thought was very, very smart to get men to come in, was that they had Steve Trevor, Chris Pine playing him, and they could at least be like, well, look, it's got something for the guys, something for the girls. Whereas this kind of feels like they've sort of pushed it towards just a Barbie audience. But again, you're like, I'm not necessarily sure that women grew up with Captain Marvel in the same way that they did with Barbie. For example, my wife rarely goes to cinema, but first night she was there for Barbie, talking about the Marvels with her. She's like, I'm not even interested in seeing it. And yeah, I kind of feel like women in general might not be up to speed with the MCU in the same way that men are, and they're kind of maybe just not as interested. But I'm trying to say this without sounding sexist, Greg. You know what I'm saying.
I think you pulled it off, man.
I hope so.
You
I
don't
don't want to
sound.
get divorced.
My male mind is saying you don't sound sexist. I will. I mean, they got Nick Fury in the trailers. Men, men
Yeah, but
pull
did
out in
people watch
droves.
Secret Invasion?
You know, I don't. Thinking about it, I I think because I've never really, and I'm not saying this to toot my own horn. I've never really noticed like the whole thing when it's like a woman lead or something until other people are pointing it out. And it's because I think it's because when I was growing up, I watched a lot of Hong Kong cinema. And I like the specifically like the Jackie Chan and Jet Li, the early days of like with their actual Hong Kong films, and that's when was really into Michelle Yeoh, was her films, and then I had movies when I was like 9 years old, like that had like Trinity, and I watched like my favorite film was Terminator 2, and I loved Aliens, and like I watched so many things with female leads, and then there's also like Maggie Chung in Hong Kong and stuff, and so to me, I guess I don't really notice it, but then it becomes such a conversation that I'm a little unaware of. Like I love like
Yeah,
Kill Bill. Remember Kill Bill? Like Kill Bill
yeah,
was a huge film, and it was so much female centric in front of the camera. And now though, when it's like a woman, it's such a conversation, isn't it? It's really really strange because I don't really notice it until someone points it out. I mean, when
yeah.
you put
I'm
like one
exactly the
movie,
same, to be
yeah,
honest. I never really focus on it that much. But what will often happen is I'll not be thinking about it, and then I'll go on YouTube. There'll be
yeah,
like 50 videos already made about it, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I guess so. Maybe
exactly,
I should, yeah, maybe I should boycott
exactly,
everything and just only watch movies from the
yeah,
70s.
uh,
Oh wait, they've got women in them too. Oh no, what? God damn.
yeah,
Um. So yeah, very strange. It's kind of sad seeing this because I know they were banking on it, but just all the things that we've seen there. I mean, Marvel, they need some consecutive wins back to back. They really
for sure.
do. Guardians, Loki, great. And if they take a dip here, I feel like it's going to almost set the mood back to how it was kind of at the start of the year, where people are like a bit down on Quantumania. down on Thor: Love and Thunder, and kind of wanting Marvel to really hit its stride again. And I feel like if this is a stumble, then it might kind of take them out of that, which is a shame. But yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. But that embargo date has not filled me with confidence. And yeah, I think the fact that the
Although
stars can't come out and promote it, it's gonna be difficult.
what they put in big bold red letters here is we respectfully ask that you refrain from revealing spoilers, cameos, character developments, and detailed story points in order to give your audiences around the world the opportunity to enjoy our movies to the fullest and allow them to discover any surprises and plot twists. So maybe, just maybe, they're running it late because there's going to be some game changer stuff in here. Huh? Do you
I mean,
believe
did they
that,
do that
Adam?
with Endgame?
I
No,
don't
I
believe
don't
it.
at all.
I don't believe this. No, they had
Yeah,
screenings way earlier for Endgame. That's so true.
even No Way Home,
So much
they
earlier
managed to
for
keep like Toby Maguire and Andrew Garfield secret, and they still lifted the embargo like days and days before. And people were like, "There's some big surprises in this, and you guys know what they are, but you definitely don't want to spoil it."
Yeah,
So I don't know if it's necessarily that, but we're gonna see, Greg. We're gonna
we'll
see.
see,
I
man.
want the MCU to do well, and you know what? The reason why I want the MCU to do well is because
Why?
I've been listening to the audiobook but MCU, The Reign of Marvel Studios, an incredible book, Greg.